Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. And she's always gone too long anytime she goes away.
And I'm recording now. Welcome to the Nerd Herd podcast. And you guys can actually see us now if you want to visit. I don't even know where we're posting this. I guess on YouTube. We hadn't thought about that. I hadn't got that far. But go
Plans, schmans.
We'll post
technology.
We'll post the link on Twitter. It will be the YouTube page for the Nerd Herd podcast. I think it's actually under the real Nerd Herd podcast is the proper Google account name. So we'll get that posted. But we thought this would be a little bit different. Give folks a chance to see us actually recording this and seeing what we look like in the wild. And
how can this not cheer people up? We've got other people doing this with seriously good news. We've seen other, weathermen. Everybody's doing this remotely from their bathtub, from their coach, from their couches. We're just like a barrel of sunshine.
Yeah, I'm just like Jimmy Fallon, completely.
just like Jimmy Fallon. Well, the funny thing is I watch CNBC every morning. It's part of I get my cup of coffee. I watch CNBC, and obviously the hosts have all, for the most part, have gone remote. And it actually is a very humbling experience. I would have expected these people to have immaculate living rooms or immaculate home offices. Not so much. Not so different from us.
Are you feeling better? Are you about ourselves? We can feel better.
Sarah should feel really good. There's more books in Sarah's background than there is on anybody I've seen on TV.
I just want everyone to believe that I'm a very learned individual. So,
well, I'm going to have
it's all for show. These are all fake.
Well, the third shelf is all Nancy Drew books.
I'm going to have to sit stock still this whole time. So if people wonder, anybody who knows me in real life, I'm like a Muppet. I'm going to wave my arms. But I have a cheap, noisy office chair, and it sounds like a WD-40 emergency if I move. And my youngest sat in it having a Skype call with her soccer coach. It was kind of awesome, right? Catch up a little bit. And she just turns to me in the middle of it and she's like, Mom, this is like the worst chair ever.
Well, everybody gets to see us in our natural habitat and our natural flaws because I'm not going to be doing any editing with this. So any curse words or any inappropriate language, you're on your own, buddy.
All right. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that I'm responsible.
It means we're fucked, Eddie. You and I both.
All right. I just needed somebody to spell it out. Good to know.
So let's jump into a few updates. Amy, we talked in the last episode about the PodLuck, which seems to be moving full speed ahead. You've got the Evite up, which we've shared from our Twitter handle. You've also been talking to some other podcasters that may or may not join us. We think they are. What's the latest?
Yep. We're seeing a real uptick now that people don't have to deal with this in person. Maybe it's the coronavirus, or maybe it's just our natural charm. More and more people are attending now that A, they have nothing better to do, and B, they don't actually have to breathe the same air. So
I knew I could get attendance up.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I don't want to thank the pandemic for this new surge and interest in our PodLuck, but here we are.
So I just need to get something straight here. So mechanically, are we going to be on air for a good 8 hours? Is one of us, are all four of us going to be on the whole time? Are we going in shifts? Have we thought through what this actually looks like the day of?
It's a telethon.
I think this is, well, it could be. We could go full telethon, or we could take turns. Is this going to be, like you said, like Farm Aid, where we're just on for hours and hours until we drag ourselves off the stage? Or I think we're going to go in shifts, but it's going to be like signing up for the pasta salad. We're going to have a sign-up sheet amongst those. See who's on, when.
And can we get Grace Lee and Malhoit to take some shifts? Can we share the load with our friends?
Well, I think we just outed who our invite list is, so we're hoping. So yes. Hi, Brian.
Also,
hi, Lauren.
Speaking of, thanks for volunteering, you guys. Speaking of telethon, that just made me realize, and I don't know if we've had this conversation and I just wasn't paying attention, but have we thought about trying to create some kind of an online donation button that's related to our time, where we can encourage people to support a cause?
Are you volunteering to set that up?
Yes.
Great.
You're
Great.
done.
Damn it.
What a great idea.
And just so everyone knows, the live link isn't in there yet because we don't want to be Zoom bombed. So we're working on our platform of choice, our privacy considerations with our crack legal team and security team to see which platform we're going to use. So don't worry. Just say yes to the invite, say yes to the dress, and then we'll make sure to distribute the how to join us when you're ready.
Amy, do you get email addresses from everybody that signs up?
I do, to the queue.
So we've got, when you sign up on the Evite, I have a way to communicate out.
Okay, good. So we can control the link. When Farley and I did something similar years ago, I think it was back in the InfoSmack days, the results were pretty atrocious. That you'd be surprised when you open up a link in social media, the kind of characters you're going to get. So good
I'm
thought.
afraid. Yeah.
Well, we're not.
So
we're going to control it, so that won't be an issue.
But yeah, so don't worry if you don't see the how to join us yet. If you come to the Evite, throw your hat in the ring with us, then we'll make sure you know how to join us.
And join like an hour after the start time so we can sit there and unfuck like whatever platform that we're trying out for the first time.
But wait a second. Yes, in that first hour, we might have to backdate this, like mom backdate it, like when I'm trying to get people to leave the house on time because the Denmarkians need to join us in the morning, our other European friends.
Oh. We'll be up at 3 a.m. Yeah,
we're going to have to take this in shifts because if we're all grilling and drinking this entire time, it's not going to be pretty.
No, I did not want to see Ed after even just 3 hours into this. What kind of a wreck he might be. No offense, Ed. You're probably, I'm going to guess out of the four of us, you probably drink the least.
Who, me?
Yeah. Or do you drink the most?
I don't know.
I've been out with Ed socially.
We'll find out.
I've never considered. Oh, you're drinking now. I've never considered you a big drinker.
Yeah, I don't know. I think between you and I, we're probably on the higher end of the scale. I don't know what Sarah's evening's like, especially with appliance issues and stuff like that. But
yeah, Sarah, do you want to give us an appliance update?
So on Friday, it became clear that my refrigerator, that what I thought was a problem with my freezer, was a problem with my entire unit. And, this story is long and involved, and I'm trying to condense it for you.
Is it working now or not?
No pun intended. It's not working now. So I thought I could fix it by cleaning the coils out, and because there was a lot of dust and grossness in there. And that didn't do the job like I thought it would. So I've put in another call for maintenance because I'm a renter and not an owner. So I can't just impulse buy a refrigerator. I have to get a property manager to get the owner to approve it. So it's a whole telephone chain operation, and it will require maintenance coming first to confirm the fact that this refrigerator, when I was cleaning out the freezer, I pulled out the ice cube, maker unit, and there's a manufacturer sticker on the side of the ice cube maker, which said manufacturing date 1999. So
it's had a good long life.
But those are the only ones that still work. That they just so you know, like I had to buy a refrigerator for many reasons involving my house flooding, and they say there's like a black market for old refrigerators now because the new ones are such crap. They're meant to be disposable, which is sad.
I have a freezer in a different room that's probably got to be 40 years old. And
it'll be here with Keith Richards, like after all of us are gone. It's.
So, but it occurred to me.
Or it will contain Keith Richards after all of us are gone.
So it occurred to me, we should add to the list of characteristics that we're looking for in Sarah's new Denmarkian husband, that they have an operating freezer.
That's it. Well, that sounds a little creepy.
I was going to say actually that they have an operating I would really like somebody who's good at fixing things. So that is really what I'm looking for in a partner is just someone who's willing to do all the stuff that I'm unable or
they both have to have
to do myself.
They have to have citizenship, European citizenship, and be handy.
fuck, that's like 3 knocks off for like future. If like Sarah didn't work out, and like the future I wasn't married, like I don't qualify for. I like can't even fix her Wi-Fi apparently. I'm not European, can't fix the Wi-Fi. Like fuck, this is just going.
Sorry, Eddie, and married.
Bummer, Ed.
Yeah,
it was good on paper, but we know when we got down to it, it just wasn't going to work between us.
So let's talk about working from home for a minute. I mean, we've obviously now we're probably, I think most of us are 2 weeks in, going into our 3rd week of kind of the lockdown mode. Some of us have been doing this for most of our lives. In fact, most of us here for years have been used to working from home. Aside from the stir crazy aspect of not being able to go out and socialize with people like we normally have. But just from a tool perspective, I saw some interesting stories this week. One is that it looks to me in general that even though Microsoft might have started off slow out of the gates, they might end up being the big winner from a software perspective. New York City schools are dumping Zoom in favor of Microsoft Teams, which was a discussion we had last week. Why aren't people using Teams? And it seemed to me to be one of those tools that everybody had, but nobody used. And then another one is Microsoft Edge is now the 2nd most popular desktop browser by beating out Firefox. And this surprised me. And I'm not sure if that's another example like Microsoft Teams, where every corporate environment has Teams. Whether they use it or not is a whole different story. I don't have Edge installed on my computer. I've never used it, but now I'm curious. Now I want to see what all the buzz is about. Eddie, what do you use? What you use Chrome, I'm guessing.
No, I dumped Chrome a long time ago. I've been using Safari for the last 4 or 5 years, just because Chrome would beat the shit out of the battery.
Oh, yeah.
It was never very kind. And, you know, Apple had gotten a head start by having to figure out things for mobile. So when they started doing a lot of mobile stuff, they figured out like, hey, here's a way to make your laptop not die in 2 hours, which Chrome was doing. Like, I mean, I'm horrible with tab hygiene. Have like 80 to 100 tabs.
Oh. Are you serious?
Yeah.
80 to 100?
Yeah.
People are going to be able to see in real time not only my reaction to anything involving a poop map, but also like,
watch
tabs.
Amy.
Watch
Amy throw up in her mouth as I talk about the tabs I have open. So I trim it down because I know once it gets like to like 100, 120, you know, it just, the laptop performance tends to get bad. So I try to keep it under 100. But like if you go through my tabs, it's like a thought process, like a daily thought process of, oh, hey, for instance, we'll get into this a little bit later, but I want to search for like, I just read an article on making your own mask. Oh, let me go look at what sewing machines there are. Oh, new tab. Hey, what do you need to have in that blah, blah, blah. So it spirals out of control. Safari works best for my lack of control.
I bookmark things because I'm afraid something will crash or it'll go away, or I have to share my screen, or there'll be something.
I've been getting burned by that recently, so I will go back and clean things up and save them to Pocket. So I use Pocket plus Safari.
Oh my God. I feel like I'm having a wild day if I have 15 tabs open. I mean, that's wild, people.
Yeah, but you're probably inbox 0 too, right? Like mine's
inbox 4,000.
Oh, mine's 100,000. So
yeah. Mine's up there too.
That I can't. That makes me uncomfortable.
I'm one of those idiots that uses my email box as my storage repository.
Right.
God.
So there's no Microsoft Edge for me right now, but I just got online and apparently you can download it from Mac OS. So I don't know though. Like the browser wars have changed, right? Because you can do it can save your passwords. It's got like if you're a Mac family, the Mac keychain integrates with the browser. So like I really hesitate to do anything with Chrome or Edge because I've already started using the built-in keychain manager, Greg. So I just don't really venture out very far.
Sarah,
I'm a Chrome girl. Oops, sorry, I'm not Sarah. Remember that?
No one asked you, Amy.
But go ahead, Amy. You already started.
Chrome.
I thought it was my turn.
No,
it's fine.
Me. Chrome. That's all.
All right.
Go, Sarah.
Thanks, Amy.
Chrome and very few tabs, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Chrome for me too. I think you were on the money when you were talking about install base, Greg. I mean, Edge is pre-installed on all the Dell instances, for example. So there's 100,000 for you. I never ever use it at work unless I accidentally open it or click on something that opens it. And then I quickly get out of there because I don't want to be there. But, it often opens, for example, our desktops are set up so that when we log in, there's like a Bing home screen that we have to move through to get to the actual fucking work that we're trying to do. And it'll be like, here's a picture that looks like a fairy tale, and if you don't click in the right way, you end up in Edge. I was going to say Explorer. You end up in Edge on like the Bing search page for fucking Brussels or whatever. Which I don't care. I don't want to read about Brussels. But that's
it's not in Denmark yet.
Yeah. So Microsoft can count that as I don't know how they're measuring in any case popularity, but they can count that as an open.
Edge and Bing, I feel like I really am having this Back to the Future. Like way back when I was in book publishing, computer book publishing, and we were the official publisher of Netscape books. So I published books on how to use the Netscape browser way back when. I'm just having all the feelings. Are we really back to browser wars? Is this the new?
It's funny because it's like surreptitiously crept in to where like I just built a Windows desktop to play games and some other stuff. And when you first install Windows, you got to go download drivers, which means you got to open up a web browser. And the default web browser that comes up for a while, like 6 months ago, is like you open Microsoft. I think it was Explorer. And then it was like, here, download Edge. It's not as shitty as Explorer. And now
right.
And now Edge pops up when you do a fresh install of the latest Windows. And it's like, hey, by the way, a reminder, this isn't as shitty as how Windows Explorer was. Please use it.
Right. Oh. You'd be surprised how not shitty we are now.
Right.
Oh, my God.
I'm still using Chrome for most things, except for, and I have the reverse experience that you guys have. When I'm on my iPad, the default app, if you click a link inside of another app like Twitter or some other things, it comes up Safari. I can't make Chrome my default in-app default.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You can. But it's hard.
You can.
All right. I need to figure it out. I need Eddie to come over and configure my iPad.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that I hate too, I'll be right over after I get done with Amy's. I don't remember what it was that you needed fixing. Just a second.
Many work orders.
Yeah, exactly. But Greg, like that's the thing that I really hate about Apple, by the way, is that switching out of the default, it's like 4 years before you can switch to a default something else. It's the same thing with maps. Like if you open up so many apps that have been built, most of them default to Apple Maps, which is complete trash. Like it's garbage, right? Well, so I should say
it's getting better.
It's getting better. This is not as shitty as the former Apple Maps. You should use Maps again, right? So I think over, if you look at all the platform stuff, like Apple really sucks at letting you make choices. Like you said, it's not easy to make Chrome your default browser on your iPad.
Well, it's the pros and cons, right? They're meant to be. It's the Linux versus Mac universe, right? One is like all DIY, completely hard to do, and one is we're going to do it for you. We're going to take care of you, but almost to your destruction.
Right.
Yep. Well, there's another piece of news this week which is kind of disturbing. I mean, let's face it, the world has gone somewhat mad with coronavirus research and people pinging back and challenging each other on the research and what the science says. And I made the mistake of jumping into some of this and some other conversations. I need to like punch myself in the head every time I.
Will you ever learn? Will you ever learn?
No, I just need I need you guys to like literally punch me in the head or send me a note. Says shut up, Greg. But along that same line, there's some crazy conspiracy theories going around, particularly around 5G and being the source of the coronavirus. There's some reports that in the UK, people were burning 5G towers down and destroying these towers. And it's gotten so bad that they.
So what's the scoop? What's their theory?
Oh, I don't know. It's some crazy people like Woody Harrelson going out there and like sharing videos of conspiracy theories that 5G causes coronavirus.
Doesn't Woody Harrelson? What's the movie where Woody Harrelson plays a crazy conspiracy theorist living in a trailer, where he literally is that guy?
I never thought that was acting. Just why? You can tell on some people it's not talent. It's just they're digging into something that exists.
It's far
there.
too natural.
Yeah. So you guys don't understand. Like there's really is an agenda. I mean, how can you trust? How can you trust anything that's going on? Like I bet you that it's fake news going on about burning down the 5G towers.
Oh, you think that's fake news?
You think that part's fake?
That part's fake, but because people probably aren't burning them down, but it's to get all of us to realize that maybe there is something wrong with.
Are you being serious? 5G. Or are you trying to screw with us? I was about to hit that end call.
Is it working, Greg? He's about to pause the recording and be like, guys, we can't go this way.
I was like,
Ed, you need to do your research.
Yeah. But apparently it's gotten so bad now that they're asking the social media platforms to police people that are posting this. And YouTube's latest response is to encourage conversations around 5G, but not link it to coronavirus.
If I were to believe this theory, I'm still trying to understand what is it that I believe. If I'm Woody Harrelson, what is my conspiracy? What am I thinking here?
I just think he's batshit crazy. He's been hitting the weed too much.
But you're still not answering my question of what relationship does 5G have with coronavirus? Is that what?
No, this is fucking stupid. Like they're trying to tie all of these conspiracy theories together, right? It's all of this whole, it's this whole mistrust thing. Like, somebody actually posted something that said COVID stands for Chinese originated virus something. That's the real thing. And I'm like, people are digging hard and deep to try. That's why I said it's fucking stupid. Like they're doing whatever they can to link things back to their conspiracy. Because obviously, like, if you drive up more mistrust of what's out there and link more things together, like it's gonna incite more emotion. What's emotional for people right now? It's coronavirus, right? So of course, like the chemtrails are feeding the 5G machine that is actually sending out the coronavirus. I'm sure that's the case.
And is the Earth flat? Is this also?
Yeah, exactly. And it's happening over the flat Earth. So be careful. Don't fall off.
And unfortunately, I think this might be the tip of the iceberg. I think people are going to get, this is pretty obvious that the idea of linking 5G to coronavirus is just batshit crazy. But what happens when people's patience and tolerance starts drifting down into things that are going to be legitimate debate? And I think people are at a point right now of frustration, and we're into our third week of this at this point. Well, what's this going to look like in 2 months from now when we might be in this current state and people are starting to turn on each other quite a bit more? I'm sure
anarchy, bro. Anarchy, pure anarchy.
I think there's room for people. There's a lot of bad things that can come out of this as people get more wound up and more isolated. Bad things, and I hope it doesn't happen. I hope we can get out of this pretty quickly. Not in a crazy, premature way, but at the right time, and people can maintain some calm. I think this could get
there's
worse.
Also just to provide a little hope on top of that, Greg, or a counter. And I wish I had the actual evidence to point to. If I knew we were going this way, I would have found it and pulled it up. There has been some sociology research that shows that some of these ideas around, the stories that we tell ourselves about what happens when things go bad or when there's a crisis in the world, or kind of post-apocalyptic narratives that we build so many stories and movies and TV shows around, that in fact, the truth is that for the most part, people actually lean in the other direction and work on helping each other. And that this idea that there will be anarchy and that people will turn on each other is actually pretty much a false narrative, and that human behavior points in the other direction. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of hope. And there has been a lot of studies around that.
But does that really, have those included how social media really has changed a lot of the amplification of the lunatics out there?
Yeah, that's
I don't know. I mean, I think that's a good point, and that does change the dynamics. It kind of scales up some of that conversation and fear, but at the local community, person to person, human level, where people are actually interacting with each other in real space and real time, my expectation is that it will still hold true that people are not trying to. So like if you look at what happened with Katrina, for example, like that's a thing that people point to a lot, which is that the external narrative was it was total anarchy and people were turning on each other. But in fact, the truth was that people were working really, really hard to try to help each other survive. And total strangers were coming together and supporting each other in that environment.
Does this explain my hostility to Ed and my growing hostility to Ed?
Growing hostility. Look, man, we'll have an ICU for you.
Whoa.
So, Sarah, give us some good news. Let's hear about your big app of the week. I can't wait for this.
Okay, well, my big app of the week is something called Dial-Up. Have you guys heard of this app?
No. What is Dial-Up? I know what Dial-Up is. Dial-Up internet.
So it's an app called Dial-Up, and Dial-Up was originally designed as an app that could connect strangers to be able to talk to each other kind of at random. And when this whole coronavirus thing hit, what are you laughing about? What's so funny?
Because I know everybody's worst instinct, and this can't be. Go ahead, keep going. But I'm thinking of another app that has more of a sexual connotation to it than people.
Okay, it's not like that. It's voice only, and you can join a line. So I joined a line called Quarantine Chat, and the way it works is you get a phone call. Or the app dials you. You don't get a phone call to your phone. Like you enter in your phone number, you put in a passcode, so the app knows your number, and you get a call from somebody somewhere in the world. It could be anywhere in the world who just wants to call up and talk to somebody for a minute about what's going on with them.
So it's not a group thing.
They've opened
it's
up
one-on-one.
Yeah, one-on-one. So I've turned it off because I've had 5 conversations. They were all really fun. I talked to people all over the country, just total random strangers. One of them was from Cleveland, Greg. And actually, speaking of the top of our show,
wasn't me.
It wasn't you, but the guy that called is a Fox News reporter, or Fox affiliate reporter there in Cleveland, Ed somebody. And he and I talked for a while, but he was telling me the whole story about how they're all handling the news now from their homes. So that whole thing that we were talking about at the top of the show, he was talking about how they're setting up cameras in their own houses and reporting the news from inside their houses.
Was he an investigative journalist?
So we had a nice chat. I don't know if he was an investigative journalist. He just said he called himself a reporter, but he was curious.
Greg's house right now.
No, I think I know who you're talking about. So that's cool.
And so we had a great chat. I talked to a woman in Baltimore. I talked to a college kid up in Colorado. We had a really nice talk. I talked to another woman out in LA who works for the city. She does sanitation, and she was talking about like what it's like right now to commute in LA on public transportation and how weird it is. Anyway, so
I love the idea of it. My instinct tells me this is, for some people, is going to devolve into something very ugly.
I love how Greg, Sarah's here. Yeah, Sarah's here to bring us the positive, and Greg's like sure that he's going to get his call from Woody Harrelson. He's like
Well, I loved it. I had wonderful conversations with people. It made me feel closer to folks around the country. You can talk to people internationally.
Why'd you turn it off?
And well, it was starting to feel a little bit draining just because the last few days I've been having to have a lot of conversations anyway with people on the phone. And it just was like, I think for people who are feeling especially isolated and don't have a lot of other folks to talk to, it's a huge, huge benefit. For me, I have a lot of people to talk to as it is. So it was starting to feel like energy draining, but it's been fun.
I'm going to try that. I will. I think that sounds like an interesting idea.
So Dial-Up?
Yep, it's called Dial-Up.
Okay.
And then when you go in there, you can. Go ahead.
But question, can you reconnect with these people once you've talked to them? Like, can you add them to a list of like, or is it like your once in a lifetime encounter? And
you can't reconnect through the app. It's up to you, of course, if you meet somebody, if you want to share personal information and connect with them outside the app, you can do that. But there's no way I could ever, unless somebody gave me their full name, I would never be able to find them.
So you don't see profile information when you're talking to somebody?
You just see a username.
Wow. That's cool, though. Because if you don't want to ever talk to them again, it's low risk.
Exactly. Well, I mean, nothing's low risk. Everything these days, I'm sure there's somebody who's written a scathing report on the privacy problems with dial-up, but I'm not worried about it.
So last week we talked about Second Life, and I said I was going to test it out this week. I couldn't because I have my work machine, which is a Mac, and I have Chromebooks and I have the iPad, so I had no option to use it. I could have tried Sky, but I didn't. So I've kind of fallen down on my commitment I made last week to try some of these apps. So
you can maybe go dial up. I fell down last night. I am a water llama pal with Sarah, and I drank my last glass of water, and then I participated in the Cards Against Humanity session, and I forgot to enter my water, and I broke my streak. I'm back to only one day of llama life.
If it makes you feel better, Amy, the same thing happened to me in the app. So I didn't break my streak in real life, but I broke my streak on the app, and you can't go back and correct it.
You have to pay to go back and correct, and I'm not willing to pay.
Which I'm not going to pay money.
Interesting.
But I've already finished, just so everyone knows, and I'm sure you're concerned. It's later in the day on Sunday, but not very late, like dinner time, early dinner time. And I am completed my water consumption for the day because I'm not going to break my streak again.
Maybe we should charge
people. I was going to say, guys, there's definitely no alcohol drinking for me because all I do is drink water right now.
There's no room left.
That's why I said, like,
for any other beverages.
Yeah, you and Amy weren't even in the running for alcohol consumption because you guys are busy water llamaing it up.
Exactly.
I like the business model, though. Maybe we should charge people to download back episodes of our podcast. Maybe there's a legit business model here.
There probably is.
We could probably $50 a pop.
Yeah, we'll make like $1. We can split up 25 cents each way. It's probably
we'll make more money on your swear jar, Ed.
No, I was going to suggest maybe we put a bounty on it that will make you listen to our past episodes on a loop if you don't pay us. So it's
yes,
it's more of a.
We charge you $10 a month. And you get that back as you listen to each episode. That is brilliant.
Except for the fact that we'll start out with 0 listeners and never get any. Or 5.
Details.
Yeah. All right. You're getting too far into this, Ed. So one of the things we talked about last week is some of the shows that we're watching. And I don't want to beat this to death or revisit the same shows that we did, but I did discover a new show on Netflix called The Heist. Now, this is a particularly interesting series because it wasn't filmed in English. It was filmed in Spanish, and it's overdubbed. Like,
oh wow!
Remember the old Godzilla movies?
Yes.
So this is a little bit better than that, but it's a really, really great story. And I'm 4 episodes in. I love the story, and it took me probably 30 minutes to get over. Wait, their lips aren't matching up.
And then Greg made an appointment post-apocalypse to get his eyes checked.
But if you get past that, and I got past it, it's actually a really interesting story. Again, I don't know where this goes. There's some already in 4 episodes, some interesting twists. There's some questionable acting. But it's Netflix, right? So
this is Netflix, yeah.
This was, I believe, they acquired this series from a Spanish producer company that produced this series. It looks like there's commercial breaks in it, but you don't see it in Netflix, of course. So I'm suspecting this was a commercially network produced show that Netflix bought and brought it over. So good story. The foundation of it is. The heist of the mint in Spain.
It's not bad. I wish they would have done it.
Is
like
it a limited series? Sorry, Ed, go ahead.
I wish they would have.
I believe it is a limited series. It's 13 episodes, but I think it's just a one-off. I think.
Man, it would have been even better if they did it like they did Narcos, what they did subtitles. I mean, I can read subtitles. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get past the Bruce Lee kung fu like mouth move, voice doesn't match.
I like subtitles too, because then I can hear it as it's being acted.
Yep.
I'm normally not a fan of subtitles, but what was that film, the Korean film that just won all the awards?
Parasite.
That was at first it was hard for me to follow what was going on the screen and catch up with the reading. Again, 20 minutes in, and you're mentally adjust to. You
got your rhythm.
Yeah, but I love Parasite.
My kids watch so many things with the subtitles turned on now on Netflix. Like that just seems like the norm for a lot of folks, and I really hate it because I just end up reading, and I don't want to be reading, but the words being there kind of pull my eyes to them. So I'm curious, do you guys ever watch things that are in English with subtitles on, or do you keep those off?
All the time on planes.
Yeah, by accident on planes.
Oh, all the time on planes on purpose, because I don't want to have it blasting my ears out, going deaf. Like there's already so much noise. And so I like make it super dark. So my trips, my tricks for that are I make it all super dark and I turn the subtitles on to kind of try to be, because sometimes, it'll blast out enough that it hurts my ears. Somebody else can hear it. It's just a sort of for a discretion thing. And and that way, if I really need to sleep, like on a red eye, I quit reading. I can hear it in my ear a little bit, but it's not, I phase out that way. It's like reading.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I do subtitles sometimes. Like I'll watch some movies that are subtitled. It doesn't bother me at all. And then also there are really stupid movies where they don't mix the volume right. And so these like actions going bang, 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 and then low dialogue. And you're like, what did they just say? I can't. And then so you're either up and down on your volume control like every 30 seconds, or you just turn subtitles on so you can go ahead and read what these people are saying when they're whispering to each other.
Can we, does that exist? That we need a levelator for television. I have seriously dreamed about this for so long. Like, could there be something like a levelator where it's so annoying? I'm delicate. I have sensitive ears. I won't watch stuff that's so oppressive to my ears.
Right.
And I want to hear what they're saying.
It's either the television level or it's the box level if you're using a Roku or Apple TV. Oh, by the way, the Apple TV I bought just 2 months ago took a crap. So I'm back to Roku, and I lost the receipt, so I don't know what to do with it now. So I got this $150 box of nothing.
Well, I have to say, speaking of other television things, I don't know if this is happening with your subscription services, in an attempt not to lose us, my Fubo has offered me everything but the kitchen sink for the same price I'm paying, because they have no sports, which has been one of my primary objectives. So I've got free Showtime and 35 new free channels, but I'm not really watching that much television. I am so busy in the kitchen and just keeping these people, these I don't know, wild animals fed.
Yeah, so I haven't been watching much either.
I have Epix, which is now free for the month of April, and it's native inside the YouTube TV app. So I've been watching a lot of Epix lately. And by the way, the Star Trek Wrath of Khan holds up very well, like that. But they also have original series.
They do? Is Epix just movies? I thought it was just movies.
No, they've got 8 or 9 original series in there.
Interesting.
So some of them look pretty interesting. Haven't taken the deep dive into there, but friends of mine tell me that HBO is now free, and I'm going to guess damn near all the major services have some free tier at this point.
Yeah, but the 30 days is kind of a joke. Like, you remember, I don't know if you ever had DirecTV or, cable and DirecTV. Didn't they usually do 8 HBO is free this week and then it goes away to get more subscribers, like the 30 days is kind of weak. Like, we're fucked. We're going to be in our houses for the next 3 months. You could throw us a handy of like 45 days or something.
Give us
like
everything
that.
for free. Come on.
Yeah, come on. It's
Just-
Because otherwise, it's like Shadow Puppets by Woody Harrelson. Like, that's all that's left, right?
I don't know if any of you have big box gym subscriptions, but I finally got the email from 24 Fitness that was like, hey, just so you know, we're not going to, like, we are not charging you for anything right now. Because I'm sure they were just getting overwhelmed in their call centers, because it's one of those places where, like, you have to physically call them and have a conversation, and people were trying to unsub like crazy.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and I just
my
got
wife got the same thing for Planet Fitness.
And I just got the email from Delta, and I'm kind of proud of them for not making too big of a deal over it. But they're like, we know you're concerned. We've extended the amount of time you can use your credits. Your status this year will be your status next year. Because it's so not the thing for us to focus on. But if it's even in the back of somebody's mind, I good on them for both getting it done and, like, not trying to do too much tooting of their own horn. Just kind of, here's business. Let's move on.
If the company hasn't reacted, they pretty much, in your mind, are like garbage right now. Like, they have to have sent out the token, like, here's your something, or else you're just like, I can't believe you guys are not even just reacting at all.
Look, United is dragging everybody down the aisle now. It's ridiculous, and people have actually, and I followed the United Airlines threads in Reddit. And people are having to recite the law back to United representatives that say, no, if you cancel the flight, you have to give me a refund. And they're like, no. And they escalate it to 10 different people and hopefully lose you in the course of a 2-hour conversation. I think that's changing. The last few that I've read on Reddit seem to be United is doing the right thing, following the law. But the fact that you've got to sit there and recite the law to the customer service representative to get your refund for a flight they canceled.
But it's all the airlines I think are getting hit though, because I had a buddy who scheduled a flight for RSA and he buys his own upgrades, and Delta was kind enough to refund the money for the ticket, but the $800, like $400 each way for that he paid for upgrades, they didn't refund it. And so it was like this knockdown drag out. And I think Southwest just got recently roasted because of the early bird check-in. People were getting refunds and credits on their tickets, but customer service was telling these people like, nope, fuck you. Your $40 that you paid to get in the check-in line, whatever, early, that's our money. And they just reversed course on it. So I think all the airlines are going through that stuff right now, because the law does apply to airfare, but it doesn't necessarily apply to all of these other extras that everybody's been having to buy for years.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to be able to solve this. And I see show notes here, Eddie, something about a sewing machine. I have no idea what this is about. Are you taking up a new hobby?
Yeah, well, see, I wanted to buy a sewing machine a long time ago, because usually when I take clothes to the tailor to get like hemmed or whatever it is, it takes a week. And I'm like, this is really ridiculous. I should know how to do this. See, it's back
to your DIY self. It's like every week we have Eddie's DIY.
For the record, I've never been to a tailor in my life, so I don't know what problem you're trying to solve here.
I have the world's shortest legs for a tall person. So
Eddie's petite.
Yeah.
So anyway, I finally bit the bullet, and I did buy a sewing machine. I don't know when it'll arrive, but and in fact, sewing machines, it was because of the DIY mask trend. Like, I have masks for respirators for doing stuff in the shop, but I don't really want to wear those out in public. So I saw that the CDC's guidance did change on wearing masks. So I looked up the instructions, and you can sew them yourself by hand, but I'm like, you know what? I really should just buy a sewing machine. So that's on its way.
Can you just use a bandana?
Bro, that's like wearing a nylon over your head. Like, it's great to rob a bank, but it's not very good to filter out any particulates.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had to limit what I can do until my masks arrive, because we own a sewing machine. My youngest knows how to sew. She learned from my mom, where I was too stubborn to. But we're out of thread. We don't have the right cloth. So I actually bought one from Etsy, from somebody who's a master seamstress on Etsy. A lot of people are doing the retooling thing right now. So look around your neighborhood. There might be somebody who sews usually like purses or other kinds of cool stuff, but they've got the skill, and they've got cloth, and they've got, they can burn these out so quickly. So anyway, for $5 a mask.
I'm just going to wear the unicorn mask. I think that Eddie got me years ago.
Oh, that's right.
I'll just walk around that.
Yeah.
Carry Chris for good luck.
Yeah, well, I figured the unicorn mask will scare people away, so that'll be natural social distancing.
Yeah, I wore, so I only have like a buff, like a bandana, that you'd use for skiing, right? And I wore that into the grocery store. It was hard not to have it slip or touch my face, and I felt like a criminal. So it's interesting that we do have this a little bit of a cultural, I'd almost feel more comfortable wearing a medical mask because I felt like I was going to rob something.
And you know what? The interesting thing is, this is going to be the new normal because especially after, I think it was bird flu for about 10 years ago or so, in Japan and a lot of Asian countries, people wear masks normally just to be able to contain their, I think, from spreading anything to anybody else or catching anything else. It's culturally acceptable there, and it has been for years. And I think,
it brings another issue up. The thing, again, too much information maybe, and maybe this puts me back in the running for who is drinking too much while on holiday. But I bought a bottle of wine at Trader Joe's and they carded me because you can only see and it's an old picture of my license and I don't have on glasses. And I wasn't sure I was going to get out of there with this zip and bell.
They wanted to make sure you weren't wearing braces.
So, did you have to take it down? Like, did they say
I got really. No, she's like, it's just a formality. And then she's like, and I'm thinking already like, okay, I've got to wipe down my license because now we've touched, anyway. So I'm thinking all these things. Masks are they're meant to, they're masks. That's why.
Now cell phone authentication's fucked because every Face ID doesn't work.
That's what I was going to say.
I thought about it. I did. Yeah.
It's so annoying. You have to use your hands into your phone. Oh. I did that like 5 times yesterday, like held it up to my face and it would not unlock for me because of the stupid. And I also had a bandana on, which I realize is not the most effective, but it's what I had.
Amy, there's a show note here about kitchen. Are you doing kitchen videos now? Please tell me you are.
TikTok.
Not kitchen videos. I maybe I should do some TikTok cooking. I am cooking so much that I just want our chef friends back in the kitchen so I don't have to be. But I re-kicked off my food blog and there's some good outcomes. So a buddy of mine has another food blog and anyway, they happen to have 30 boxes of, I think it's frosted flakes with Halloween marshmallows. So I have a box coming to me that I'm going to make some sort of treats out of. So. Wow.
Now, can people can people buy this from you, or is this something you're just going to make at home?
No, I think I'm just going to make it home. I don't have the expertise or the commercial kitchen or license, so I can tell you how. But you're going to DIY it like Eddie.
Yeah. Well, our friend Jody Tyrus is, and I don't know the details by this. I'm just basing what she's posted on social media. Apparently, she's got a business called Solera Chocolates, which I wasn't aware of, and she's doing a fundraiser where the proceeds of she's got like an assorted chocolates box that you can go on her website, look it up, Solera Chocolates. It's a sampler box for $40, and the proceeds go to Mask for Doctors. She
is unbelievably talented. I've been friends with her for years. I've had the good fortune to eat some of her products. She brought me at VMworld, I think last year. It was a chocolate dip stroopwafel. And yes, I almost had a moment. Thankfully, there was no video because I ripped it up and opened it and ate it right there in front of her. And she's still probably laughing about that. She's incredibly talented. Her work is beautiful and it's such a cool cause. I don't have a lot of Easter candy in the house, so I immediately ordered one last night.
So did I, for just that reason.
Yeah.
So it's the website.
I just ordered one right now.
So the website is solerachocolates.com. SOLERA. Go check it out. Again, friend of everybody in the industry and for a great cause. And I think that I might I wonder if she has a subscription service for chocolates.
Maybe she's incredibly talented. I've watched, and Amy, you've been around too. Like, it was just experimentation. And there's a Food, Booze, and Geeks kind of Facebook group that a lot of us from the same communities and same vendors have been in. And she started posting things probably like a year and a half ago of like trying to make this and trying to make that. And then all of a sudden you see these incredible creations come out. So it's awesome that she's doing the.
Well,
yeah, it escalated.
Tell her, Greg, she can.
So I'm just curious, Sarah, in the early days of the podcast, you talked about, I can't remember the name of it, the Jewish food that you put on Slack, or you were doing something referred to it in your group
Kugel.
Slack. What is it?
Kugel. Shout out to my Jews. Kugel.
Yes. Sarah, let me put it. I know you won't do it. I know life is complicated enough already, but I think it would be great if you did a Kugel recipe on YouTube and shared it with everybody, or created it, froze
I will
it,
bring
and shipped
Kugel to the PodLuck.
It's like a pasta. Absolutely, it should be Kugel.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep, it's on. I will. I don't know if I'm going to do like a video because that's like. That's a whole other somebody else. I don't know. That's too much, but maybe.
You know what,
but I will for sure bring it.
We need some things to fill in this insane long period of PodLuck time that you could probably just cook it on the PodLuck.
Yes, we'll slot you from 10 to 11 on PodLuck day to Sarah's Kugel class. I like this idea. That's a great idea, Ed. We'll have themes in different hours throughout the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
right.
Amy,
it's going to be shout out to my Jews hour. So I might make maybe make some latkes.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's that time of year.
Right.
Oh,
So I might do some latkes. I got to think about this.
There's all of a sudden
a nice
twist.
brisket.
And Amy, I think we're going to
brisket.
slot you in for some time to give us a cooking demonstration.
The sad part is all the food that is complicated and hard seems to be what my family wants to eat. I made a cauliflower recipe that I will never get that 6 hours of my life back. And unfortunately, it was delicious. And now I have to do it again. Yeah.
Ed, you really should consider making a batch of banana bread during this live stream.
That's pretty simple. I can do that.
And maybe you can copy Jody and start selling banana bread for.
No. Like, Jody's next level, man.
Yeah,
Jody
you
is
see Jody's chocolates, and they'll be like,
Yeah, it's like she could literally put on the description that she's a master chocolate artisan or whatever those people are, and she's been doing it for 30 years, and everybody would believe chocolatier. Everybody would believe it. They look that amazing. You've tasted it; they're amazing. So
I'll make up a whole story, a whole legacy behind Eddie's banana bread that goes back to your teen years. I'll write the whole narrative for this, Ed. You'll be fine.
All right.
You'll be amazed. I'll work with Sarah on it behind the scenes because Sarah obviously is a good storyteller and she's a good reader as well. So Sarah and I will come up with the backstory for your banana bread that will make it legendary.
All right, that works. If I can sell cloud, I can probably pull this off.
Yes, I think you can. All right, very good. I think we're going to have to wrap it up on that note. Amy, how can people find our Twitter account and engage with us and find the Evite for our PodLuck?
It's at nerd_herd_pod.
Fantastic. And Sarah, how can people join the after party in Slack?
It's bit.ly/nerdherdpod. And we now have a sci-fi channel. So we're expanding our conversations and our topics, not exponentially.
No, and actually it has a dilutive effect. Now I don't know where to go when I go on the Slack channel, but it's fantastic. We're getting more and more engagement on there. And Ed, how can folks leave a 5-star review for us?
Now or in the future, because in the future, we'll ask you to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. But right now, just go ahead and give us a rating on iTunes. Give us how many of our stars you think we deserve and give us a review.
Fantastic.
But wait, Greg, will that be done over 5G? Because I have questions.
It's safe.
How you consume it is up to you. And to be honest, I don't know exactly, it's not clear to me where this video is going to appear on YouTube. I assume it'll be the same.
If you're watching it, you know.
Well, the link will go out.
Good job.
The link will go out on Skype, but I believe the Gmail account is The Real Nerd Herd Podcast at gmail.com if you want to email us. I never check it, so don't waste your time. But I assume
that'll probably be our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Because that's how you get the YouTube channel.
Yeah, I imagine that's where it's going to be. So,
You do the YouTubes.
Yes, but Chuck.
Wow, we're an empire. Greg, you understand that when the pandemic has led to a multimedia empire that is the Nerd Herd Podcast.
Yeah, or we're just doing lots of busy work. That's the other way to look at this.
Potato, one way or the other. It's going to take me 6 hours.
I'm going to have to start wearing a gown because I think it's important that we dress appropriately to rule our empire. So I'll get to work on that. Eddie, when you get your sewing machine, we'll send you a pattern for an empress's gown.
Yeah,
something.
It's not going to look like Jody's chocolates, but I'll try my
Maybe
best.
I'll just wear my wedding gown from the closet on the next show.
I would definitely wear a wedding dress to Nerd Herd to the PodLuck.
Okay. Oh, not to the PodLuck. I don't want to smell like smoke because I'll be grilling. So
I'll make a Kugel in a wedding dress.
That's fine.
Why not?
Wow. And maybe we should donate some leather-bound books to Sarah's bookcase. And she can swap out some of those Nancy Drew books for some classics.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm kidding. All right. Well, thank you for joining us this week in our first video experiment. Let us know what you think about it in the comments below or wherever you happen to see this. Hopefully there's comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you all next week. Thank you so much.
Bye.